Okay, it's recording now. What was it you wanted me to say, Sotiris? Hey guys, Mrs. Cyanacone here. Okay, so you start out in a browser, right? And you go to your portal.office.com. Mine takes me automatically to my Outlook, but I'm going to choose the one for Microsoft Word, right? This is Word Online. All of you have access to this, right? Okay. Now we wait. Okay, so we need to make a new document by clicking New Blank Document. And we're going to start by you need to have the name written properly. And if you look at the sheet that I gave you, you'll see what the format is supposed to be. What's the first thing on the first line? Nadine?
It needs to be typed.
No, in the example on your laminated sheet. Yeah, turn it on the other side. It shows an example on the side that Maria's looking at. Right? Yep, that's correct. Right? It shows you what the first page of a paper should look like. Okay? What's the first thing on the top of the page? On the left. Anna?
Your name.
Your name. So, Anna Savchenko. Okay? What comes after Anna Savchenko? Maya? The teacher's name. If the teacher has a doctorate, you should put it. Right? You should be as formal as possible. Next line. What's next, Alessandro? The class. So this is 8 social studies. When you're in high school, you'll write geometry or whatever the subject is. Good point. Let's change that to Mrs. Jane Button, or Ms. Jane Button is even better. Okay. And last, Aiden? The date. And this order of the date should be, it's going to be the date that you're turning it in, which is 12 April 2016. Okay? The next line is the title. So let's make up a title. Our title might be Augustus, Hungry for Power. Okay. And this needs to be centered. Okay? Now, another important thing is that if you hit Control A or the Command A on a Mac, it's going to highlight everything. This should be Times New Roman. So I'm going to choose Times New Roman 12. Okay, everything needs to be Times New Roman 12. The reason for that is what the MLA, the organization, the Modern Languages Association, they require that format. That's the format you have to do in high school. You're expected to format your papers like this for all high school papers that you do. Everything. A computer lab, a science lab, a geometry paper, an English paper, any language paper, anything that you do in high school should be printed out like this. Okay, the other thing is you need to put up here a header, right? Like on top of your head. So to do that, you're going to go from here, Insert, and you're going to choose Header and Footer. And in Word Online, you're going to get these boxes, and it shows you the left, the center, and the right. And then this is the footer, the left, the center, and the right. In the one all the way to the right, you type your last name. So Savchenko. And then we're going to insert the page number, and it's going to be this one to the right. The thing is, if you notice, so it's showing you that it's the hashtag, because it's going to change the number for each page. So you don't want to put a number in there, or else every page is going to say page 1, right? So the thing is, do you notice that this is not the correct font? It's automatically been put in Calibri. We need to highlight that and make it Times New Roman. Yep, everything. And then we click on this and we're back. Now, The next thing is that when you start typing your paragraph, so let's say your paragraph begins with Augustus was known for his excellence in leading the Empire of Rome. He was, I'm just putting in nonsense. It doesn't matter. Leading the Empire of Rome. I know, I'm going to fix it. He was the first emperor and was called Caesar. I don't know. Anyway, so the problem is that we see that right away that this is not Times New Roman, so I need to fix this to Times New Roman. Right? I'm going to fix my spelling.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
And we need to make sure this is double spaced. Okay? To double space, we're going to use this. And don't just click on the 2. The reason for that is if you go into line spacing options, over here where it says after, it's set to 10. And I'm going to show you what happens. When I go to the next line, it automatically skips some space. Do you see that space there? If I double space this now, by just doing this, there's going to be too much extra space here. And there's too much space here. It's a small detail, but it's not correct. So you need to highlight everything, and I like to do Control-A to make sure that I've highlighted everything. And then here I go to line spacing, and I choose 0 for that, for after, and the line spacing should be double. So this should be 0, 0, double. Okay. Now the thing is that this also needs to be indented. The first line of a paragraph needs to be indented. Okay, so what you might do is you might write thesis, right? And then you might write paragraph 1. If you'd like to do that, you can do that. And then this would be paragraph 2, and then conclusion. If you would like to do that, if it helps you to organize your paper, it's fine. You can delete it in the future when you get older. You won't do that anymore. But just if you want to do that to organize this, you can do that. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. I want to make this paper long enough that it goes on to 2 pages. Okay? So, to see that it's on 2 pages, you have to go to View. And if you go to the reading view, it shows you what your paper is going to look like when it's printed. Notice that the footer has shown up. If my paper were fewer, is not, to edit again, I have to go back to this, edit. If I delete some of this and it goes on to 1 page, and I do that again, now, oh, the header is there. Okay, you can set it so the header isn't there, but you want to have, even if you have a 1-page paper, the header should be there. Okay, the reason you do that is so that, the reason you put the header there at all is so that if your pages got printed out someplace, it has your name on it, and then someone can put all your pages together, or that they know that they belong to you. Okay? So now I'm going to go back to editing the document again. I'm going to make it, again, longer. Okay. After my conclusion, I want to do my works cited. All right? So I'm going to insert a page break. I'm going to insert a page break because if I don't do it that way, my works cited might end up at the middle of the page, or, right? If you do the page break, the works cited, the words works cited will always be at the right place in the page, which should be at the top, the first line of the paper. So we're going to write works cited, and that's going to be centered.
What's a page break?
The page break is, and it forces to have a break. So if your page ends, if your paper ends in the middle of the page, it means that it gives you a new page and starts the next thing on the new page. So for example, at the end of a chapter, You don't write chapter 2 in the middle of the previous page. And so you might have space at the end of a paper, of a page, before chapter 2 starts, and that's why you do that.
Like if it's on
Let me show you
not
view,
on the Mac,
view, read. It's this in Word online, it's always going to be the same.
also we can't just space for it to be.
No, you shouldn't space, because if you do a space, see, the conclusion is the only on here. If you do spaces, I'll show you what happens. So let's say I delete the page break. And instead I decide I'm going to do it like this, so that it goes on to the next page.
That's a long
Well, we have to wait a second for it to show the page ends. No. Okay, so there it is, right? The thing is that if I type more words here, if I add more lines here, this is going to get pushed down farther. But if I use a page break, that won't happen. It'll always be the first thing on the last page of your paper. Okay? So going back to editing it. So my works cited, going back, deleting up to here, and I'm inserting a page break. And this needs to be centered. And on the next line, I'm going to start to write a source, okay? So if we're looking at the packet, I need a packet. Does someone have their packet they can lend me? Okay, so if we have the packet, and let's say I'm going to use, let's say I'm going to use trying to get to the Suetonius. Okay, I'm going to use the Suetonius. I'm going to type Suetonius as the author and period, okay? Then I'm going to write the title of what this source is. And we're going to say that this comes from the This is how we can do it. For this time, we're going to do it like that. Suetonius, History of Augustus, grade 8 Roman packet. It doesn't have a date, and we're going to leave it like that, okay? And you're going to do each one like that. Now, if it's a website, let's say someone used the Encyclopedia Britannica. Augustus. Okay, it doesn't have an author. Then in that case, it doesn't have an author. The title is Augustus. Augustus. Right? This is from the online Encyclopedia Britannica. And that's going to be in italics. Okay? And we're going to see if there's a publication date on that. It says it's from 2016, copyright 2016 here. Okay, so we're going to put that in. 2016, web, and then the date is the date that we accessed it. So let's say that was a week ago, right? So let's say it was 1 April 2016. Now, this is again supposed to be in Times New Roman. So I need to make all of this, Control A, I'm going to check again and make it Times New Roman 12. One other problem is that this, Augustus, should be before Suetonius, because alphabetically A comes before S. One more thing. If, let's say this title was a lot longer. It's Augustus, 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 Augustus. Let's say. The thing that has to happen here is that this needs to be something called a hanging indent. Which means that I'm going to go up here, again, to my line spacing. And over here, I'm going to choose, under indentation, I'm going to choose the one that says hanging. And I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to look like that. The reason for that is that the first line of every source is all the way to the left, and you can see it more quickly. Okay? This is what your paper should look like. And if I go to View, Reading View, it has Savchenko up here, right? And the works cited also has Savchenko on it, right? And so when you print this out, this is what your paper should look like, okay? One last thing. When it says on it, when I'm here, and it says saved, this is being saved in your cloud, okay? It's being saved in OneDrive. So if I go now to OneDrive, I should find that document. Now, it's called Document 1, but I also have a document here that was written by Salama, which has to do with the announcement. So we don't want to have a lot of documents that are just called document. So what are we going to do? We are going to rename it. We do that by clicking on this and clicking on these three dots. We're going to rename it, and it's going to be Savchenko Augustus Essay. That way, and I'm going to show you why. When I see documents that were shared with me by students, I have a lot, document 1, and I have other ones that don't, if they don't have names, document 2, it's hard for me. I can see that this one was by me, and this one was by Carolyn, but it would be better, as Ioana has done, as Denai did, right, to put your name, as Matthias did, in the document name. So that when I download it, I don't just have a document called document 1 or homework, okay? So once it's in the OneDrive, you will be able to access it from home, from an iPad, from school, from wherever. Okay, questions? Maya.
When you did the works cited list, the one that you took from the podcast, why didn't you put the dates when we used it? Like,
that's a good point. I'm going to put that now.
oh, okay.
It actually should be, I should write print, because this is a printed copy, okay? And then I'm going to put the date that you used it to April 2016. Okay, Nadim?
I have two questions. First of all, it has to be on Word online?
No, you could use Microsoft Word, you could use Pages, as long as it looks like this. But if you want to listen to the YouTube video and follow the steps, the easiest thing is that we all have Microsoft Word online because the school provides it to you for free. Part of your Outlook email address, you get the cloud and you get the Word online. That way you're following the same instructions. The really great thing about that is that your documents are saved in the cloud and you can access them from school. Let's say you sometimes do your homework at your grandparents and then sometimes you do it at your mom's. You could go on your grandpa's computer and you'll be able to access your document, and you can go on your mom's computer and be able to access your document. You could go on your friend's iPad and be able to access your document, right? It doesn't matter. You could come to my house and use my iPad and work on your document. It's that easy. Yeah.
So it doesn't need a cover page like in research writing?
No, that information that you received from Mrs. Mansfield was incorrect. She liked a cover page, and I love Miss Mansfield, but that was incorrect information. You should never have a cover page on a school paper. It is supposed to look like this. This is correct MLA format. Okay, no cover pages. I think she liked cover pages. I'm not sure why, but
it was her rules.
They were her rules.
Rules.
Exactly, but don't use, none of the high school teachers want them. You're not going to do cover pages. Yes.
Is this the
Yes, it's still recording. But I can trim it. If the questions are not helpful, I can trim it. So, yeah.
How do you send this to someone else?
Okay, let's say I want to share this. I go back to OneDrive, and I find the document, Sevchenko, and I go to share.
Oh.
Okay, now if I put in Sotiris,
Where's my picture?
Alessandro, Maria Katsama. Everyone's gonna be there. Anastasis. Michael. Anna Savchenko. Max, it's Mishari, right? Alina.
No, Mishari is the wrong one.
Ooh, that's not right. No, it's not under, whoops. It's under Fedra? Okay. There, you're right. Fedra. Aiden. Maya. Nadim. Paul. Is that everyone in our class? Okay, and then I write a little message. This is a template for your Augustus essay, right? And you can edit it, right? And I'm going to send it to you.
Yay.
Okay, and I'm stopping recording now.